Motorcycles are not just simple machines, they are statements. But some deserve a facepalm and a tow truck. These bikes turn heads for all the wrong reasons. Ones that make you question whether they bought it for its performance or purely just for attention. Today, we're counting down the worst of the worst. 10 motorcycles no one should buy. The dumbest one? It's waiting for you at the end. We're going to start off with number 10, the overstyled Honda Rune 2004-5. If you've ever wanted to waste a small fortune on a motorcycle that's basically unusable, the Honda Rune is your dream come true. Honda decided to take their reliable Goldwing platform and transform it into what can only be described as a rolling art exhibit that nobody asked for. If you've ever wanted to own a concept bike that accidentally made it into production, meet the Honda Rune. It is the most stylish yet confusing bike that was ever made, being covered with insane chrome at the fenders, forks, pipes, and even the radiator. The Rune features a massive 1832 cubic centimeter flat-six engine that, while powerful, is completely wasted in this chassis. The bike weighs a staggering 850 pounds. You read that correctly? It's heavier than some small cars. Try maneuvering that beast in a parking lot, and you'll need a chiropractor appointment immediately afterward. Just by using it, you can feel the weight of the bike. Beautifully designed, but very terrible to ride far. Honda somehow managed to create a cruiser that simultaneously stretched out like a chopper, yet cramped like a sports bike. Your arms reach for handlebars that feel like they're in another zip code, while your legs are awkwardly folded beneath you. Good luck on turning at low speeds with this one. It's basically driving a grand piano with handlebars. And the price? When it launched in 2004, Honda had the audacity to charge nearly $30,000 for this monstrosity. That's right, 30 grand for what was essentially a Goldwing engine, stuffed into a frame designed by someone who had clearly consumed too many energy drinks. But the real kicker? Honda only made them for 2 years because, surprise, nobody wanted to buy them. Now collectors try to convince themselves they're rare treasures worth preserving. No, they're not rare because they're special. They're rare because they were a terrible idea from the start. It's not even considered as a sport bike nor as a tourer. You are literally just driving a very shiny machine. The Rune is a bike that says, "I bought this to impress people who don't ride." Thinking this is the heaviest bike? You are wrong. In our number 9 spot, I introduce you the Boss Hoss V8, a car in a motorcycle's body. Have you ever looked at a perfectly good motorcycle and thought, you know what this needs? A Chevy small block V8 engine. No? Well, someone did. And that's how we ended up with the Boss Hoss, the motorcycle equivalent of putting a jet engine on a shopping cart. The Boss Hoss isn't just big, it's comically oversized. Powered by a 350 or 502 cubic inch V8 engine, because apparently 100 horsepower wasn't enough. This monstrosity weighs in at over 1,100 pounds. That's not a typo. It literally weighs half a car's weight. The rear tires are not made of motorcycle tires. They are literally car tires. We're talking about a 8.2-liter engine with over 445 to 563 horsepower on a motorcycle. Riding a Boss Hoss isn't motorcycling, it's survival. The handling is exactly what you'd expect from strapping a car engine between 2 wheels. Non-existent. Corners aren't taken so much as negotiated with. And stopping this beast requires the kind of forward planning usually reserved for ocean liners. Then there's the heat. Sitting inches away from a V8 engine is like straddling a blast furnace. Hope you enjoy having your inner thighs slow-cooked to medium well while you ride. And fuel economy? Let's just say you'll be on a first-name basis with every gas station attendant within a 20-mile radius of your home. The price tag for this two-wheeled identity crisis? Anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000, depending on how much chrome you want to blind other motorists with. It is beyond overkill for a bike. Twist that throttle too hard, you're gonna jump into another dimension. Confused? Why call this even a bike? It's like navigating a barge across the Atlantic Ocean full of icebergs. If it tips over, don't even try to pick it up. Just bury it where it falls and start a new life. And the fuel consumption drains not only your wallet, but also your mental health. You are looking at around 10 to 15 miles per gallon here, and it only drinks premium. If you think this is nice, get a car instead, more accurate to what you want. Now it's not all about too much weight. Sometimes it's about the looks. Here comes our number 8, the designer disaster, Aprilia Moto 6.5. When motorcycle manufacturers hire famous designers with zero motorcycle experience, you get the Aprilia Moto 6.5, a bike designed by Philippe Starck, a man known for furniture design who apparently thought motorcycles should look like melted plastic toys. The Moto 6.5 is what happens when style aggressively overpowers substance. Powered by a single-cylinder 650cc engine that produces a yawn-inducing 43 horsepower, this bike manages to be both underpowered and overpriced. It's like paying for a Ferrari and getting a Fiat with a fancy paint job. Let's talk about that design. The Moto 6.5 looks like it was created by someone who had only ever seen motorcycles in cartoons. It features bizarre plastic panels, an awkward seat that looks like an afterthought, and ergonomics that seem designed specifically to make physiotherapists wealthy. The riding experience is equally disappointing. The engine vibrates like it's trying to escape the frame, the suspension feels like it was salvaged from a shopping cart, and the handling is best described as unpredictable, and not in an exciting way. Very mediocre, especially for an Aprilia. With no aftermarket at all, this bike received no attention from riders. You want accessories, parts, upgrades, mods? Non-existent. Was meant for short city rides, but still uncomfortable doing that. Nobody supported it, not even its own company Aprilia. Broke something? Your best answer is to make furniture out of the whole thing instead. Oh, but some do love it until now, the design hipsters. That's why you'll most likely only see it in museums, not roads. But poorly designed bikes do not end there. You should meet our number 7, BMW C1, the wannabe bike. Imagine paying motorcycle prices for something that removes everything fun about riding a motorcycle. That's the BMW C1, a scooter with delusions of grandeur that somehow managed to combine the worst aspects of cars and motorcycles into one baffling package. The C1 was BMW's attempt to create a safe motorcycle by adding a roof, windshield, and seatbelts. Yes, seatbelts on a motorcycle. The result looked like what would happen if a smart car and a scooter had an ugly baby that neither wanted to claim. Powered by a wheezy 125cc or 200cc engine, the C1 wasn't just slow, it was glacial, and despite its car-like pretensions, it offered none of a car's benefits. No air conditioning, no decent storage space, and certainly no dignity when seen in public. There's no doubt this is one of the dumbest designs of BMW. It's a scooter trying to blend in with cars. A chunky scooter at best, slow, terrible center of gravity, and absolutely hard to park. The final insult? In many countries, you still needed a motorcycle license to ride it, and in some places, you were still required to wear a helmet, despite BMW's insistence that the roll cage made helmets unnecessary. So you got all the bureaucratic hassle of motorcycle ownership with none of the fun. BMW mercifully discontinued the C1 after just a few years of dismal sales. Today, they occasionally pop up for sale as unique collector's items, which is code for, "Please take this embarrassment off my hands." But it's now all about the looks and weight. What about speed? Here comes the entry of our number 6, the Kawasaki Ninja 250. The Kawasaki Ninja 250 is an icon in the rider's world. Now, before the pitchforks come out, the Kawasaki Ninja 250 isn't a bad motorcycle. In fact, it's an excellent beginner bike. The problem isn't the bike itself, it's the people who buy it for all the wrong reasons. Every year, thousands of wannabe racers purchase Ninja 250s thinking they're getting miniature superbikes. They slap on aftermarket exhausts, flashy graphics, and frame sliders, convinced they're one mod away from MotoGP glory. The reality? They're still riding a 250cc motorcycle that struggles to outrun a determined cyclist on a hill with a 249 cubic centimeter engine, reaching 32 horsepower. It's light, forgiving, and reliable, but that doesn't stop clueless riders. These misguided souls spend thousands customizing their Ninja 250S, often investing more in modifications than the bike is worth. They'll add power commanders, air filters, and race fairings to a bike that makes all of 30 horsepower on a good day. It's like putting a spoiler on a golf cart. It doesn't make it faster, it just makes you look silly. Spoiler? It's not. It's the training wheels of sport bikes. It's a slow one at most. If you are an experienced rider who can easily use bikes, this one is a very unnecessary choice. It's a lawnmower. The saddest part? Many of these over-modified Ninja 250s barely get ridden. Their owners quickly realize that no amount of carbon fiber can transform their beginner bike into a ZX-10R. So the bike sits in the garage, a monument to misplaced enthusiasm. Sounds so sharp that it's either an angry hairdryer or a mosquito passing by at a disappointing speed. It's a great beginner bike. You can learn how to ride without dying, and that's honestly very rare for a sports bike. If you want a Ninja 250, buy one for what it is, a brilliant beginner motorcycle. But if you're purchasing one thinking you'll transform it into a track weapon, you might as well set your money on fire. At least that would provide some actual heat. But that's now the slowest one yet. In our number 5 is the identity crisis on wheels, Honda DN01. The Honda DN01 is what happens when a motorcycle manufacturer has an existential crisis. Is it a cruiser? Is it a sport bike? Is it a scooter? Honda's answer was yes, and the result was a bike that failed spectacularly at being any of those things. Futuristic design, fully automatic, and has an identity crisis? Yep, you heard me. This bike does not fall in any category. Cruiser, scooter, sport bike, tourer, absolutely none. Too heavy and long for a sport bike, too expensive and weird for a cruiser, and not practical enough to be a scooter. No storage like a scooter, no bags like a tourer, and definitely no accessories like a cruiser. The riding experience is equally baffling. The feet-forward position suggests cruiser, but the low handlebars say sport bike, resulting in a riding position that seems specifically designed to make chiropractors wealthy. And despite its substantial size, the DN01 offers minimal storage space, poor passenger accommodations, and handling that can best be described as reluctant. Under all that questionable styling sits a 680cc V-twin engine that produces a thoroughly underwhelming 60 horsepower. But the real head-scratcher is the transmission, a hydromechanical automatic CVT that Honda grandly named Human-Friendly Transmission. There's nothing friendly about paying motorcycle prices for scooter performance. It runs in hopes and dreams. And speaking of prices, Honda had the audacity to charge around $15,000 for this confusion on wheels when it launched. That's right, $15,000 for a bike that couldn't decide what it wanted to be when it grew up. The idea was there, just poorly executed. Planning on buying this? Just get yourself a real bike, saving us both some time, away from problems. Number 4, the Kawasaki ZN1300 Voyager, the motorcycle that ate all the food. What if you put handlebars on a cruise ship? You get the Kawasaki ZN13000 Voyager. The standard Z1300 was already a behemoth with its 1300cc 6-cylinder engine, but Kawasaki wasn't satisfied. They added fairings, saddlebags, a trunk, and enough plastic to keep petroleum companies profitable for years. The result was a touring motorcycle that weighed nearly 900 pounds wet, about the same as a small rhinoceros. The ideal tourer, until it's not. It may run smooth like melted butter sliding down the hood of a Cadillac due to its inline 6-cylinder, with over 1,286 cubic centimeters and 120 horsepower. But it added so much weight, the bike handled like a runaway upright piano. At nearly 800 pounds wet, this beast was less Voyager, more cargo freighter. It's like putting a jet engine on a lawnmower. You don't ride a ZN1300, you captain it. It is so massive that turning is quite difficult. And then there's the reliability. These bikes are famous for surprising electrical failures, vacuum line issues, and carburetors that seemingly adjust themselves at random. Long-distance touring on one of these is basically Russian roulette with spark plugs. If you're planning a cross-country ride on a Voyager, bring tools and maybe a priest. And fuel economy? Don't ask. The ZN1300 drinks gas like it's trying to forget its own existence. You'd be filling up at every rest stop while watching actual Goldwings cruise by with smug grins and half-full tanks. In our number 3 is the Ducati Panigale 5.4, the idiot's chick magnet. Don't get me wrong, the Ducati Panigale is an engineering masterpiece, a stunning achievement in motorcycle design, and one of the most capable superbikes ever created. It's also completely wasted on 90% of the people who buy it. A very powerful track weapon, equipped with aerodynamics and loaded with tech. It's not just a bike, it's a statement. With over 1103cc and 214 horsepower V4 engine, race-spec suspension, an electronics suite more advanced than most fighter jets, this thing is born for the racetrack. It's basically a MotoGP tech that barely made itself street legal. Being the fastest bike in the market, it is also one of the most misused ones. The Panigale is a bike that demands respect and skill. Its aggressive riding position, razor-sharp handling, and explosive power delivery require a level of competence that weekend warriors simply don't possess. Yet these riders convince themselves that owning a Ducati somehow transfers racing ability through osmosis. It's supposed to go through speeds, not under 30. No wonder there are complaints of it overheating. They are driving a 214 horsepower down city streets on speed limit. Some even buy this just for attention. All they do is flex their bike and pose in front of women. Ducati Panigale equals instant chick magnet in their mind. Look at me! I have the fastest bike out here. Pay attention to me only. I'm the coolest one. They don't even use it properly. If you can't even ride a 300cc, don't buy this hell of a machine. Most owners never leave third gear. They're too scared to open the throttle, too stiff to lean, and too proud to admit they bought way more bikes than they can handle. The Panigale isn't a toy, it's a scalpel. A scalpel in the hands of someone who's never used anything sharper than a butter knife. Not only you will embarrass yourself in front of experienced bikers, but also other Panigale owners that actually know the true value of such a bike. Like it's a cool bike, just not in the right hands. Many superbikes are misused just like the number 2 in our list. The Yamaha R1, our well-known organ donor. The iconic Yamaha R1 that was inspired by Valentino Rossi's M1 MotoGP bike. One of the fastest bikes out there and built with MotoGP-level electronics. But this bike is so intense that it does not trust its own riders. It's a 998 cubic centimeter inline-4 monster with a crossplane crank that makes it sound like an angry chainsaw opera. It revs to the moon, hits triple digits in a blink, and will absolutely yeet you into a ditch if you're not paying attention. Now what's so bad about it? It's not a bad bike, it just gets used by the wrong people. Just like our Ducati Panigale 5.4, some buy it for attracting eyes and ears. Unless you live near or at a racetrack, you are just dragging a loud banshee through red lights and school zones. This bike wants to go 180 miles per hour while you just want to get Starbucks, not a healthy relationship. It was designed to be a track bike, knees to your ears, wrists on fire, absolutely no seat padding, and having a cuddle moment with the fuel tank. No wonder some complain about the seating position because they are using it oppositely from its main purpose. That is not a cruiser, that is a superbike on the highway. Running this at low speeds not only ruins its gears and minimizes driver comfort, it also creates so much heat just right under the seat. This bike was made for track riders, not for wannabe main characters in the city. Last but definitely not the least is the Kawasaki Ninja H2R, the road to heaven motorcycle. Want to meet the Grim Reaper? Buy a Kawasaki Ninja H2R. The H2R isn't a motorcycle, it's a statement that says, my bank account is bigger than my common sense. Let's start with the obvious. The H2R is not street legal. It says so right on the bike. It has no headlights, no turn signals, no mirrors, and emissions that would make an oil refinery blush. Yet somehow, people still buy these $55,000 machines and then complain that they can't ride them on public roads. What exactly did you think you were buying? With specs made of 998 cubic centimeters inline, 4 supercharged, topping 310 horsepower. This is the definition of ride now, hospital later. The H2R makes over 310 horsepower in a package that weighs less than 450 pounds. For comparison, that's more power-to-weight ratio than a Bugatti Chiron. It's a bike so powerful that even professional racers approach it with caution. Yet somehow, dentists and software engineers with more money than sense convince themselves they need this level of performance. You may have money to buy it now, not enough money to fix it later. This bike does not belong anywhere. Firstly, it is too fast for a public road. Secondly, it is too loud. Lastly, you will eventually off yourself with it. It's not a bike, it's a machine to meet God. Want to get one? Make sure you have a guardian angel with you. A little twist on that throttle can make you see a glimpse of the stairways to heaven. Why dumb? Because only the ones who actually would dare to use these are the ones who are not scared for their life. Yeah, it's cool until you crash and wake up to a red and blue light above you. Surprise! Not only did you lose $1,000, but also a limb.